whatever you're having. Welcome back to week 3 of Battle of the Stitches for March. March. I had to think about it there for a moment. We are on week 3, which is the reveal of our projects, and I'm going to be absolutely honest. I've just suddenly realised I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to do about getting people to vote or where to send them. So I'm going to go and have to look that up and maybe link it below. Or maybe when you watch the other people's, you'll find out from there. I will find out at some point today, though. We had the wide double crochet stitch this month, and here's what I made with mine. No, it's not a candle cover. Summer's coming up, and I sit outside quite a bit. And there's like dandelion seed heads and flies and wildlife and things floating around. I wanted something to put over a jug out there, or even it fits over my mug handle and all, the way I've done this. And I'm going to put beads on, which sort of help weigh it down, but not a lot. But can you see the stitches? And just a circle taupe top with a back loop, only single crochet there to help it fold down. And this could go down longer if you needed it to be, but I took inspiration from, sorry, my brain's just not with it today. Old-fashioned covers you get in they remind me of Victorian era. You'd get crochet thread ones and lacy bits, and that's what this kind of reminded me of. But it was something practical that I'm going to need coming up in the summer, because we are starting to get sunny weather, and we're going to do a tutorial. Although for the tutorial I will do a smaller one and probably do it so it goes over the top of a can, which I did bring and prepared for. So we're going to move around and let's show you how I did it. So here we go. Finally got all set up. What I started off with is I put some beads. I've just got this tub of beads from crafting, and I've threaded 2, 4, 6, 10 onto my yarn. Now, I don't think I'm going to use a whole 10, but it's easier to put too many on than not enough. And what we start off with is you can do the start. And let's try and dangle this down off the desk so it's not making too much noise while we're using it. I'm going to start with a magic loop. You could do a 10-4 and carry on from there. And I'm betting you I have not got a stitch marker to hand. So start with 6 double crochets. If any of you have done much crocheting, you probably know the talking crocheting is not working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically, we are aiming for a circle that will just fit over here. So when doing a circle and crocheting in the round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, we've got 6. The first round is 2 single crochets into every stitch, so you end up with 12. Is that in the right stitch? Yeah. Now you can use any yarn, any hook, as long as they all work together and are harmonious, shall we say. This is what I call 4-ply cotton yarn, and it's left over from doing my pineapple doily. 6, 7, 8. Now there's two ways of doing this. You can either do, oh, stitch marker. You can either do spirals like if you were doing amigurumi, or you could slip stitch to the first stitch in the next round and chain one. I tend to do the amigurumi way, so I'm going to take that out. So then every row now we will add 6 more on, being we did 2 in each one last time. We'll do, the pattern is now single crochet into the first one and then single crochet twice into the next one, and you follow that pattern all the way around and you will have increased by 6 stitches until you get back round. The next row would be single crochet, and then 2 into the next one, and you increase how many single crochets. I'll see if I can put some text on the screen, it might make it easier. The gap in between increasing gets bigger because the rounds have got bigger. I've got no clue what I'm doing now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Until you get to the size where you are cover and fit what you want to cover. So I'm going to do my circle until it fits my can, and then I will come back and show you what I'm doing next. So now I've done 7 rounds of the increasing and it fits just over the top bit of the can, and I was thinking if you wanted to use a straw you could do some chain and skip some stitches to make a hole for a straw, but this just fits over the diameter of the top of the can. Now if you did more stitches it would be a bit too baggy, and I know this can flows out a bit. But what we're going to do now is we're going to do another row doing single crochet into the back loop. Let's move that can out of the way. And then we will start on the wide double crochet stitches to make the main part and the pretty part. And as I said, those beads will drive you mad on that table. Let's throw them down off the desk and it might not drive me mad either. So where are we? Stitch marker in that one. It's the last one. Because you don't want it too big. You want it to fit. You could make it bigger and more baggier if you wanted to. I tend to like the top bit a bit more fitted, but that's just personal preference. So if we did back loop, I hope you can see it leaves a nice ridge, and it actually helps the stitches bend down or bend in the different direction. My dog just loves coming in and jumping up and down off chairs and things when I'm filming. I think she's just checking I'm not having any fun or getting into any trouble while she's not here. Mind you, there's 3 of us home today and we're all in different rooms, and I think she's just keeping an eye on us all. So I'm hoping the angle of this is okay. I've got a different tripod and I'm trying to find an angle where I can see what I'm crafting and not be working round bits. And unfortunately at this angle I can't see what the camera's doing, so fingers crossed you can see. Now what I haven't told you is with this I'm working with a 3mm hook for the top, so it's fairly close stitches, and I'm going to go up. Oh, there it is. I'm going to go up to a 4.5 after this round, so it opens up the stitches a bit. I didn't go up on my one I showed you earlier, and it doesn't quite show the stitch off as prominently, although it still looks good. So here we go, getting there. As I said, I can't crochet and talk. It's very slow going. Knitting, however, I can do, but we're not knitting today. Nearly there. What's everybody doing for the rest of the day today? I'm going to finish a whole cup of coffee. I haven't done a whole cup of coffee hot today yet. There we go. So to the end of that one. And I'm going to switch over. I'm just going to double check that that goes all the way over. Yeah. See, it fits. We'll swap my hook over to a 4.5 and chain 1 for, and then I'm going to do a double crochet in every stitch, which is going to be a little bit tight at this stage because the stitches were smaller. My brain's a funny place to be today. I've got jukeboxes on my brain and I'm not going to tell you why. But I can tell it's going to be a very random day. I've got my beads all tangled here. Here we go. After this, I'm planning on going out for a walk, and I'm talking too quietly, I think. Sorry, it's because I'm concentrating. It's absolutely beautiful sunshine here. It's still fairly cold, but a beautiful sunshine has certainly been lifting my mood. Anything seems a bit more possible with a bit of sunshine. Right. I was trying to do some mental maths there. I'm not good at my times tables. I've done 7 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows, which meant 7 times 6, 35, 42, 49 stitches all in all on this one for what I'm doing. But there again, your tension and your hook size and your yarn size may give you a completely different number. So I really shouldn't confuse you with the numbers. Although I confused myself the other week, the instructions for this in the book we're all using shows how to do this flat back and forwards really. I confused myself by putting it in a round. When you do this stitch, you start each round with a double crochet and then go in the, Oh dear me, these beads are going to drive me nuts. There we go. And then you go in between the stitches on the last one, so I had to adjust a bit for doing in a round, but it worked. I just have to try and remember how I did it. I really should have written this down, shouldn't I? But that would have been way too easy. Where am I? There we are. I really should have started the row and then come back and finish the row with you, but maybe I'll do that on the next one. Here we go. Nearly there. Outside my window, just over the road a bit, there's some trees, and the crows are all nesting in the trees as usual. It's been fascinating to watch. Whoops, split the yarn. Fascinating to watch the crow's nests being built up and listening to them all making a racket out there. I say racket. Bird noise is generally thought of as lovely and beautiful. When I had my cochlear implant put in and I started to hear things again, I was out with one of my children and I said, yeah, it comes back in stages. Well, it did with me. One day I couldn't hear something, the next day I heard it. But being it works differently with a cochlear implant, you don't always know what you're hearing. Your brain has to figure it out. So I spent a lot of the first 6 months asking, what is that noise? Well, on this particular day, I was out with I want to say it was one of the boys. I know it was one of the boys, I just couldn't tell you which one. I turned around and I said, what is that racket? And they looked at me and said, Mum, that's the birds singing. So I felt that. Right, I've got to the end of the row and slip stitched. I'm going to do a chain 2. I tend to do 2, not 3. And then do a double crochet. And then what we do is we work in between the stitches and it will open out. So I'm going to go all the way around and go in between the stitches, and I might do a second round so it's opening it all out, and then I will come back to you. So I'm back. Still making terrible noises and got all entangled in my arm, but it fits. Covered up nicely. You could make it longer and more lacy. I'm going to leave it like that. It could also be used as a coaster too if you wanted to save your surfaces from condensation. So doing well. Now, I've seen a lot of people doing beads where they use the beads, they're hooked on, but you need a smaller hook for that, and some of these hooks, you just use a smaller hook. But how I was doing it, I'll do it every 3 to 4 stitches, I think, is chain 1, the single crochet, 2, and then I bring a bead up and I place it in front. And then into the next stitch and bring that up through So I've got 2 loops on my hook and then beads in front, and then finish off that single crochet, because if I'd done it the other way it was laying on the back. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3. Lay it in front, put the hook through, pull it up through and finish it, and it'll be on the front. 1, 2, 3. Can't count. And that is how I did the beading. So I will finish this off and come back and show you how it's finished, what it looks like when it's finished. And here we are, all finished. I just have to fasten off and weave in my ends. And then we have a cover for whatever you've made a cover for. And I've used green. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, although a day late, but never mind. So that is my cover for whatever you want to put a cover on. This is going to save me having things dropping in my drinks when we're outside in the garden. I don't know if it'd fit over that one. So I put various cups and things up today. Might just fit over a pint glass as well. Stretching it out. And I've got this one. So thank you for joining me today. I hope some of that actually made sense and you enjoyed your time with me today. As I said, I will link everybody down below who's also doing Battle with Stitches. And if you could please go over and catch up with all the ladies who are joining in. We've got Heather at Strings and Threads. We've got Theresa from Critters Crochet. We've got Sam by Hook and by Needles, and we've got Beth at Melody Crochet. And if you go over and check them all out and then have a vote, you might be in to win the winning object or item. So take care and thank you for joining me today, and talk to you all again soon, hopefully. Bye for now.